Right, good afternoon everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Ooh, new audio visuals, it's hard to ascertain where it's coming from. That's so nice. We're in this lovely brand new library, so thank you so much for being here this afternoon. I'm Tabitha Robinson. I am the treasurer of the Donelson-Hermitage Neighborhood Alliance. And as some of you probably know, the DHNA hosts events like this all through the year, not just political events. We do community organizing as well, litter pickups, you name it. So if you're interested in getting more involved in the Donelson-Hermitage community, feel free to come see me after this event or go to dhna.info for more information. All right, welcome to the House District 60 Candidate Forum. We're just going to go over a few ground rules and then we're going to get right into it. So the candidates have been presented with some prepared questions that they received in advance. There's 10 questions, and they each have an allotted amount of minutes to answer each question. I will be keeping time, and then with the remaining 30 minutes that we have, we are going to take questions from the audience. So you, the audience, will have an opportunity to ask questions to both of the candidates, and they will get 2 minutes per reply per question. And with that, I would like to introduce our student moderator who will be moderating this afternoon.
Hello, my name is Sojourner Franklin, and I'm a high school at New Clark High School, and I'm a present senior. And I'll be moderating this forum today.
We're going to go ahead and get started.
Would you two please introduce yourselves?
Hey everybody, I'm Tyler Brasher. I'm a candidate for House District 60 in the Democratic primary.
Hi, I'm Shondell Brooks, and I'm also a candidate for District 60.
Okay, let's get started. This is a 3-minute question. Please tell us about yourself and your motivation for running for office. Whichever one of you wants to start.
So, like I said, my name is Shondell Brooks, and I am a mom of 4. You're probably wondering why my hair is blue. My hair is blue because my son's favorite color is blue. My son was killed in the Waffle House mass shooting, so ever since then I have been wearing my hair blue to honor him. You said why? Why my hair? Yeah, so I was motivated to run when my son was killed. I've seen, for the past 6 years how we've been faced day in, day out with gun violence, how women's rights are being eroded, how our voting rights are being eroded. There's so much going on that motivated me to run. So I decided that I was going to take my activism and all that I've been doing for the past 6 years, that I was going to take it to a new level, that I was going to take it on the inside, because I feel like I've been fighting on the inside, outside, and no one has been listening. So now I'm going to take it on the inside where they wouldn't have a choice but to see me sitting right next to them in the same room. We have to talk.
So I'm Tyler Brasher once again. First, I also want to thank the DHNA for putting this on. Thank you all for coming out to this forum. So I moved into Donelson-Hermitage area in 2018 and just fell in love with the place. I got involved first with the Donelson-Hermitage Neighborhood Association and then started trying to plug in different ways. My wife as well, Kelsey Brasher, is plugged in with the Donelson-Hermitage Chamber of Commerce. We have a daughter named Millie who is 2. We have a second daughter who is on the way, and just over the past few years, as a dad, as a husband, as someone who's planning a family, I've started to see our rights eroded. Much like Shondell said, we've got our reproductive rights in this state dwindling away at the hands of the supermajority. As a person who's planning a family, my wife is currently pregnant, as I said. It's terrifying to start a family in the state of Tennessee right now, because we don't know if our women are going to be able to make the healthcare decisions that they need to make for themselves that are best. As a father of a future public school student, 2 of them, I want my daughters to go to public schools that are well-funded and to go to public schools that are safe from gun violence. There are a litany of issues out there that the supermajority in the state of Tennessee continues to get wrong over and over again. And I know that no one will fight for my family like I will. And how could I not run whenever all of our rights are being eroded on a daily basis? I want to get in there and do the right thing for the people of District 60, to make sure our schools are well funded, to make sure our schools are safe, and to make sure that our women are able to make the reproductive choices for themselves.
Okay, next question. This one is also 3 minutes each. As of June 2024, the median salary in Nashville falls significantly short of what is needed to afford the median home price. Similar disparities arise on a statewide level. What are your proposals to alleviate this disparity between home price and income?
So that's a good point. I think from 2019 to 2023, our home prices increased, the median home price increased about 33%. On top of that, you've had interest rates that have roughly doubled. So people are struggling out there to afford housing that is meaningful to them, that is going to provide them a safe place to live. And one of the things I think that the state can do, number one, is get out of the way. We have to allow Metro to increase and deregulate zoning so that we can have better density in our cities, in our neighborhoods. We need to increase density. That's number one. The state has a habit of preempting local measures that would allow for increased density in our cities, and I think the state has to take its hands off. Additionally, I serve on the Metro Health and Educational Facilities Board. Despite the name, most of what we do actually involves affordable housing. We're responsible for approving tax-exempt bonds for affordable housing units across the city. And so my work on the H&Ed board prepares me on day one to get out there and make sure that people have affordable places to live. I understand the problem. I see it every time I go to an H&Ed board meeting. We're talking about the need for affordable housing. The state needs to make sure that it's not prohibiting zoning reform, and we also have to go in and be sure to encourage additional density in our neighborhoods.
It's not just owning homes, it's rent too, right? People are struggling, and people cannot afford to live in the neighborhoods that they have grown up in, right? Because they can't afford it. They're not being paid enough. They're living on a one income. Like I know exactly how that is, because I've lost my husband and I had to raise my children on a one income, 4 children. And so I know what that is like. So the issues that I'm running on are issues that I experienced myself as a single mom. We have to raise minimum wage. We have to make sure that people are able to afford and raise their family, be able to take care of their family. When I go knocking doors, you know, the things that I'm hearing, they're not worried about what's going on at the stadium and things like that. People are worried about how they're going to raise their children. You know, my daughter have a college degree, and she still can't afford. She has to work multiple jobs to make sure that she's able to even afford rent. These are the issues that people are facing. We have to make sure that people can afford to take care of their families, because people have real issues. Sorry, I lost track of.
The next question, this is 3 minutes each as well. The divisive issue of state-funded vouchers for private schools was prominent this legislative session. Governor Bill Lee promised to bring another school choice bill next legislative session, despite a lack of support for it this year. What is your stance on school choice and vouchers?
Absolutely not. I feel like, I've been there at the Capitol when this bill was passed. And it's disturbing. I feel like if you have your child and you want to put your child in public school, then you pay for that. I don't feel that anything should be taken from public schools to given to private schools. I've been to public school and I turned out fine. I have 4 children that have been to public schools, and I feel like public schools need so much more. You know, teachers are not being paid. We need so much more in public schools as far as counseling, mental health issues that children are facing on a daily basis. There's so much that public schools need that we shouldn't be taking from public schools to give to private schools.
I'm going to echo those remarks. As the son of a public school teacher who taught for 40 years, and the brother of a public school teacher, and also the brother-in-law of a public school teacher, my response to the voucher scam is hell no. I'm going to oppose the voucher plan all day long, every day when it comes back. This spring, we know it's going to come back. Bill Lee's out there on the trail right now for Republicans trying to drum up support for this deeply unpopular scam, is what it is, to take public school money and funnel it into private pockets. We as a state, as a government, we have one money for public schools. That's it. If someone wants to send their children to private schools, have at it, but the state should not be funding that. We're able to fund one school system. We need to do it well. We're 44th in teacher pay in the state of Tennessee. We're 41st or 42nd in per pupil funding, depending on where you look. We've got to do better for our teachers. We've got to do better for our students. We need schools that are robustly funded. Instead of abandoning them if they're not doing well, we need to invest further into them. I will oppose school vouchers every day of the week. I can't say that harshly enough because it really rubs me the wrong way as someone who grew up on a public school teacher's salary. And I also think that we ought to provide universal school lunch and breakfast for our students out there. That might be the only meals that a kid gets all day. We can afford that in the state of Tennessee. Instead of giving tax breaks to corporations through the franchise tax, let's feed kids, okay? These are simple choices that we can make as a state of Tennessee. And I'll fight every day for working families, for teachers, and for students alike to make sure that they get a good education.
Okay, the next question is also 3 minutes long for each. This year, the legislature passed a measure that allows teachers with certain qualifications to carry guns inside their classrooms. Do you agree with this measure? If not, what are your proposals to ensure the safety of our students at school?
That's another hell no for me. I don't agree with arming our teachers. Our teachers need to be teaching. They need to be focused on the classroom and on educating children. That's what they want to do. That's what they were trained to do. We need to give them the tools that they need and that they require to be able to do that. Arming teachers, throwing more guns at the problem is not the solution. We have firearms are the #1 cause of death for children in the state of Tennessee, and that's a shame. It's an absolute shame. We have to do better. Arming teachers is not the problem. Throwing more guns at the problem is not the solution. What we need to do is implement safe storage requirements so that you can't just toss your gun on your dashboard and leave it in your car overnight. Gun thefts are way up since Tennessee passed permitless carry. We know that. We know that crimes are being committed with these guns. We must require safe storage. We also must require universal background checks. You can go to a store, if you're going to buy a gun, you have to perform a background check. If you go out on the street corner, no background check required. That's broken, y'all, and we have to fix that. We must require universal background checks and extreme risk protection orders to make sure that if someone is a threat to themselves or to others, that they do not have the opportunity to go and do danger to society. We have to prioritize this because our kids deserve better.
Absolutely no for me as well. I have been there when this law was passed at the Capitol. I remember feeling the way I felt because I have a child in public school, and I don't want the teacher walking around with firearms around. That is scary to me after losing a child. Being around guns is very scary, and even when the Covenant shooting happened, and my son called and said that they're on lockdown because this is what was happening. No, absolutely not. Sorry. What we need in schools are or what we need to keep our children safe is background checks. Background checks are the foundation of all policies, all gun safety policies. We can't allow people to just walk around with guns, right? I have been doing this for 6 years. I know what it takes. I've experienced this. This is not a game for me. This is personal, and guns are not going to make this more safer. We need safe storage. Too many children are picking up guns and walking around and injuring themselves and their loved ones, their siblings. We need red flag laws, where I feel like if Tennessee had red flag laws, maybe my son would have been here. Like if your child is experiencing, or your family member is experiencing any kind of mental issues, or they have any kind of sickness, we need to make sure that we can intervene and intercept and make sure that they're taken care of and they don't have guns in their possession to injure you or your family members. This is something I feel like I've been doing and fighting for, or fighting against for a long time, and we have to protect our children. We have to do what it takes. Guns in schools are not used. It's not what we need.
Moving on to another topic, since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, Tennessee has undergone a transformation in terms of abortion access. Tennessee has one of the strictest abortion bans in the country, with no exceptions for rape and incest. And just this month, legislation passed that makes it a felony to recruit or transport a minor for an illegal abortion without parental consent. What is your take on the abortion landscape in Tennessee? And this is about 3 minutes for each as well.
Okay, sorry. Tennessee. It's scary to live here as a woman. It's very scary. It's scary here to live here. I have a daughter, I have a granddaughter, and to know that, one day that something like that can happen, they can rape, and then they're forced to have the child, unacceptable. No one knows. I'm a woman, I'm in this race, I'm the only woman running in this race. There's no way. I understand what it feels like to be a woman, to carry 4 children, to give birth to 4 children. And I know what it's like. It's scary here to live in Tennessee. Our rights are being taken away, and we cannot. We have to stand up, women. We have to stand up to make sure that our rights are restored. And I will vote against anything that talk against women's rights.
Yeah, the abortion landscape in Tennessee is more like a hellscape. There's no exception for rape, there's no exception for incest, there's no exception if you are a minor, there's no exception if you are raped by a family member as a minor. You are going to be forced, that person is going to be forced to carry that child. It is plainly unacceptable, as Shondell said. We must expand exceptions to the draconian ban that's been put in place in Tennessee, period. Our women's lives are not protected. I'm not a woman myself, but I'm married to one, and she's carrying our second child right now. And it's terrifying to plan a family in Tennessee, not knowing that my wife, who I deeply care about, obviously, can get the care that she needs. Tennessee's abortion ban has the narrowest exception for health and life of the mother. It comes down to, I think, a few certain medical conditions, ectopic pregnancies and molar pregnancies, and maybe a little bit of wiggle room there, but not very much. And before this spring, or I guess maybe last spring, we had no exceptions at all, period. No abortions. That's unacceptable. It puts women's lives at risk, and we deserve to, we must protect our women in the state of Tennessee. We have to expand exceptions for the life of the mother, for rape and incest, for children, and stop all this trying to blame women and put the burden on them. We must, as a state, allow them to make their own reproductive choices. I will fight for that every single day at the state legislature, and it is crucial that we expand our exceptions in the state of Tennessee.
The next question is about Jillian's Law. Jillian's Law recently went into effect, and this law blocks criminal defendants from found mentally incompetent from purchasing or owning a gun. Do you agree with Julian's law? Is this enough? And if not, what would you propose at the state level to prevent future gun violence tragedies?
Well, Jillian's Law, yes, it went into effect this year. It's about time. Unfortunately, Jillian's not here with us anymore to be able to have an opinion on that because she was killed by someone who was deemed mentally incompetent to stand trial. This person who was incompetent to stand trial was still able to purchase a firearm and unfortunately took her life. That is a tragedy that could have been prevented if the state legislature and the supermajority of Republicans worked just reactive to everything. If they proactively tried to save lives, she would still be here with us today. It's a good start. Jillian's Law is a good start. We have to do more. Safe storage requirements, red flag laws, background checks. You're not going to find much difference between Shondell and I on these issues. The people's lives in Tennessee are too important to be reactive. We have to be proactive about saving lives. Jillian's Law is a good step, but we have to do more.
Yeah, after speaking with Jillian's Law, of course, Jillian's Law is not enough. It's not enough. We need, like you said, we need background checks, and these are things that I have been fighting for. Background checks, like I said, is the foundation of all policies. We need safe storage. We need to close the loopholes. We need these red flag laws. They need to be addressed. You know, like I said, if your family member is experiencing any kind of mental issues, we need to make sure that we step in, or law enforcement, or whatever it takes to make sure that guns don't end up in the wrong hands. For schools, to make it safer, we need to address the mental issues that are the emotional issues. After talking with teachers that I spoke to today, would say we need to address the issues that students are having mentally in schools. We need to increase social emotional learning, emphasize on the red flag laws. We need to, I don't know how you guys feel about guns, the AR-15. For me, it took my son's life, so for me, I feel it's a weapon of war and it should be gone. Those are just steps that we need to take to keep our children safe in school. Children's Law, for sure, it's not. It's just the beginning of what we need to be doing. Thank you.
The next question is on Tennessee infrastructure. What is your take on the state of Tennessee's infrastructure, particularly its state roads and modes of interstate transport? As a representative, what will you advocate for in terms of infrastructure? And this is 3 minutes each.
What? Me? Oh. Again, when I go to people's door, this is not what I'm hearing, but I understand. Where I live, I have to go down Central Pine to make sure to get to my house. And it's very, very scary because we don't have sidewalks and it's dark. And I am scared that I'm gonna hit someone and end up in jail probably. Who knows where I'm gonna end up. So I feel like we need better roads. I know a lot of us don't go down I-24, but even I-40, we have all these potholes, and I feel like safer roads are safer for Tennesseans. I'm sorry.
I actually hear about this quite a lot on the doors. Folks just want basic infrastructure. They want basic government services, including their roads paved. We used to have really good roads in the state of Tennessee. Really good roads when I was a kid. You could drive to other states and feel the difference when you crossed over the state line. Now it's the same way, except it's going the other way. When you cross into other states, you feel really great roads beneath you. Tennessee's roads are crumbling, and we've prioritized for too long expansion projects, special projects, pork barrel projects in rural parts of the state at the expense of maintaining our roads here in Metro Nashville and in the cities across our state. We have to invest more in maintenance to flip the switch, I guess, from expanding and special projects out in the state to just maintaining what we have. It hits working families hardest when they have a blowout on the interstate while they're trying to get to work. It takes them out of work. Tires cost a lot of money, as you all know, and it's just bad business all around. The state of Tennessee should prioritize working families by maintaining our roads better. We do need more sidewalks. Tennessee, well, Nashville in particular, is woefully lacking in sidewalks. Just go down Elm Hill Pike as well. It's a major corridor where tourists come in to stay at the hotels and they can't even walk down the street to grab a bite to eat at night because there's no sidewalk over there. The state's got to partner with Metro and make that happen so that we have better sidewalks, more improvements here in the city of Nashville. Also, we have to invest in transit. The WeGo Star is just right across the road here. It runs in the mornings, it runs in the evenings, Monday through Friday. That's it. If you need to take a train ride downtown for a concert on the weekend and you want to avoid paying for parking, you want to avoid adding another car to the road, too bad. You can't do it. The train doesn't run on the weekends. We have a positive train control system that we need to implement. It's a safety measure to be sharing the tracks between freight lines and passenger rail. And we haven't funded that in the state of Tennessee. We haven't funded that here in Metro. We need to create a regional transit partnership that will fund the WeGo Stars upgrades and improvements so that it runs at more hours, so that it's more accessible, so that more riders can use it and take cars off the road. That's about $50 million. Chump change compared to a brand new stadium, right? It's about priorities. The state of Tennessee, Metro Nashville need to partner together to prioritize public transit in a way that we haven't seen before so that we can get cars off the road, so that we can reduce emissions, and then so that people's commutes are just a little bit more enjoyable as they get to work. It'll help working families by just investing in rail, investing in the transit referendum this fall. I would urge you all to vote yes on the transit referendum. It's got some good stuff in there, but we have to invest in public transit as well.
Okay, this question is 2 minutes each for each candidate. How will you engage with constituents, and will you hold regular office hours, town halls, newsletters, etc.? Please elaborate on any communication purposes.
Yeah, it's crucial to be able to talk to your representative, to be able to hear as a representative, to hear from the people to hear from their representative about what's going on, to have a dialogue. It's not one way. It can't be one way. You can't just always scream at your representative, and the representative can't just be pumping information out to you. It's got to be a dialogue. We have to work together and talk to each other because we're here to represent. We're not here to be celebrities. We're not here to be popular. It's hard work. We're here to represent all of you guys. So every phone call gets returned. Every voicemail gets listened to and returned. Text messages as well. And yes, office hours are crucial. Every single Metro Council member for our district holds office hours once a month. I will do the same if I'm elected as your representative to make sure that I'm hearing from you all and that we have a dialogue that's constructive that allows us to work together to understand each other's needs. So absolutely, town halls, office hours, yes, you name it. I'm an open book. Send me an email anytime. I'll get back to you. Absolutely.
I totally agree with Tyra. I know what it's like as a constituent to be ignored and not listened to and calls not returned after going to the Capitol for 6 years. I also plan to, these are my notes, I also plan to make sure that I have town hall meetings with my constituents. Email me anytime, just like you said, email me anytime, meet with me anytime. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's been a day at the ER today, so I'm sorry, I'm just not feeling my best.
We have about 2 more questions left. For the second to last is 2 minutes each. What do you think makes you the best candidate for Tennessee House District 60?
You know, running for office it's personal to me. It's not about Democrats, it's not about Republicans. It's about being the change and bringing the change to Tennessee that Tennessee needs. I have been doing the work. I've been going to the Capitol for the past 6 years. I have been putting in the work. I have been testifying. I have been pleading. I have been begging. I've been going to DC, and I feel I have the resume to show what needs to be done here in Tennessee. I want to be the voice for people, everyday people like myself that are experiencing the issues and the things that I have been experiencing. All the issues that I've been running on, that I'm running on, are issues that I have experienced myself. I'm known to fight. That's all I can do is fight. You know, and if you want someone that's going to fight for you and stand up for what's right, I might not say all the right things, but I will do all the right things. What I have been doing for the past 6 years. I have a resume. Google me, search me up. You'll find me. You'll see everything that I have been doing. And yeah, I will definitely fight and stand up for safety for our children, especially.
So I believe that with the connections that I've got in the community, that I'm ready on day one to get to work for you all. The 4 out of our 5 Metro Council members that touch this district have endorsed me. That's because I knew them ahead of time. I had a dialogue with them ahead of time. I understand what our community needs because I'm in the community. I'm president of the Donelson-Hermitage Neighborhood Alliance, this organization that's actually put this on. I'm a member in leadership at the Donelson-Hermitage Chamber of Commerce through our Young Professionals Committee. I've served on the Metro Health and Educational Facilities Board, the Metro Participatory Budgeting Steering Committee, and these experiences have shaped my ability to come in and listen to the people of our district and get good things done for them. I can start on day one building bridges across the aisle, working with the other side to be able to get good things for our district. It's not just about passing legislation, it's also constituent services. I can get those done for the people of the district, of District 60. And I'm invested here. I've got a daughter, she's 2, she's gonna be a public school student in just a few years. She can start next year at the age of 3, if you didn't know that. I've got a daughter that's on the way. I'm as invested as anyone in making sure that our schools are well funded, that they're safe, that reproductive rights are restored to the people of Tennessee, and that our infrastructure is maintained well in this state. It's crucial to me. I live here. I love it here. My children are going to grow up here. I'm invested in this community, and I appreciate your support.
This last question, we'll have each 5 minutes. What do you see as your top 3 priorities for the state, and how will you champion them?
Yeah, so education, but also infrastructure and gun safety and reproductive rights. So there's more than just 3. I can't even prioritize those. Education, as the son of a public school teacher, is going to be my top priority, fighting this voucher scam. That's going to be the fight of our springtime. Across the state, the school boards, all 60-something of them that came out against the voucher plan this past session are going to have to come back out again and pass new resolutions opposing the voucher plan. It's all going to come back, deja vu all over again. My top priority is going to be defeating the voucher scam when it rears its ugly head once more. In addition, our infrastructure, it's one of the top issues that I hear on the doors. Let's just pave our freaking roads. It's really basic. I'll make sure to make those connections at TDOT, to go to them and pressure them to make sure that we're getting the things that we need in our districts and our cities, not just in the rural parts of the state with fancy pork barrel projects, but maintaining what we have here in the city. With gun violence, we have to implement safe storage requirements, background checks, extreme risk protection orders, aka red flag laws, to make sure the people that don't need guns don't have them. If someone's a danger to themselves and to society that should not have a gun, we must make sure that they do not have the ability to get one because they slipped through without a background check or because their red flags were going off, but the state was able to do nothing about it because the legislation hasn't been passed. We have to protect the people of the state of Tennessee. our children. Reproductive rights must be restored to our women. Life of the mother exceptions, rape exceptions, incest exceptions, these are basics. We don't even have those in Tennessee. We have to do better. That's a priority of mine to make sure that when a woman becomes pregnant that she can make her own healthcare choices, that a lobbyist or a legislator at the state aren't making those choices for her. There's many, many problems at the state of Tennessee. Number one, let's defeat the voucher plan, and we can do a lot more than that if I'm elected. So.
What do you see as your top priorities? First, let me say healthcare, education, safer Tennessee, of course. My son was shot June 10th, and let me give you a little background on why I choose healthcare. And he was shot in the head, and he was sent home for me to take care of because he didn't have the right insurance. We couldn't afford the right insurance. We weren't able to make follow-up appointments because we couldn't afford the right insurance. So insurance is a big one for me. Healthcare is a very big one for me. Safer Tennessee, everyone knows my son was killed. So, what do you fight for when your son, your family, your life was interrupted because of gun violence? So what do you fight for? You fight for that this wouldn't happen again. It wouldn't happen to your family, right? Putting laws in place, the red flag laws, safe storage, background checks. We need to make sure that guns don't get into the wrong hands. That's one of my biggest ones. Education. We have to make sure that our teachers are being paid. We have to make sure, back in 2019, my son, because the 911 call was eroded to a totally different Waffle House, which could have saved his life, right? My family, we were able to take the CD to court because no one would admit that they did something or something could have been done, right? So we took them to court, and the city council ordinance passed to allow the GPS tracking for 911 calls because it could have saved my son's life. So we got that put in place where things like that wouldn't happen again, right? I moved here from New York when I was 23 years old. I've been here for 30 years. I've seen Nashville grow. I've seen the changes. I know what Nashville needs. So I am from New York, but I'm not now in Nashville. I've been living in the Hermitage for the past almost 3 years now. So I know what it's like. My children are Nashvillians. I want to be the voice to make sure that all Tennesseans are heard. I want to be that person that stands up for what's right. I'm not a politician. I will never be a politician. I just want to be the person that will fight what's right for families. Thank you.
Okay, that was our last question. Now we have some time for the audience to ask some questions of their own. Each person who asks a question each candidate will have 2 minutes each to answer a question. So.
What are your differences? Like, where do you guys diverge?
I'm a woman, he's a man.
Okay,
Right.
repeat your question, I don't know if everybody heard.
Yeah, sure. You seem to have a lot in common, so I'm just curious, as far as your positions on issues go, so I'm just curious where you differentiate on issues.
I don't know, I feel like I have experienced, a lot of the issues as a woman, as a mom that lost her child when it comes to gun violence. I've experienced that. So, I don't know, I don't know, Tyler would have to speak for him, but for me, you know, the things that I'm running on and the things that I have experienced myself. So, the gun violence, healthcare, hybrid, all the issues that I'm running on are things that I have experienced myself. And knocking on doors, I realize that people are experiencing the same things as well.
That's a good question. We're both Democrats. We agree a lot on the issues, I think, and thank God that we do, because we have some crazy people on the other side that we're going to have to fight against this fall. And I hope that we're both going into this on a unified front, and that we know that we have a common opponent this fall that we're going to have to combat. With got some crazy positions out there on the other side, but you know, I think it comes down to a difference in background. Shondell is coming from a background of activism and advocacy, and I'm coming from a background of community work and being involved locally. And I think that that's a choice that voters are going to have to make. Which one would they prefer? I don't see a ton of daylight between us, frankly, on policy. But our backgrounds and our experience, those are the things that are going to differentiate Shondell and I on the ballot.
Yeah, and also, I was a parole officer, so I have been working with people and working with the community for over the past 20 years. I was raised by 2 police officers who taught me about safety and about justice, and a lot of great values that I dwell on right now. So I think that makes a difference as well, you know, my background and coming from where I've come
from. We have a question actually from a Facebook live stream that we've got going here. A constituent wants to know, what is your position on trans healthcare laws, and how would you support the LGBTQ community?
Okay, I'm glad that came up because I was knocking doors and I met with one of the parents, and as a parent I understand, you know, his concern was about his trans child and wanting to move and didn't want the neighbors to know that his child was trans, which it just broke my heart, because as a parent you want to protect your child, right? And going through a situation like that, I told him, he said, how do you feel about that? And I said to him, I feel that all children, everyone should be safe regardless of who you love and who you are. And that's what I'm going to do, to make sure that trans, the LGBTQ, the entire community is safe. Like, we cannot, we have to make sure everyone is safe.
Yeah, that's a great question. Trans rights are human rights, full stop. We've got to protect our LGBTQ brothers and sisters out there, make sure that they're heard, make sure that they have the visibility that they deserve, make sure that they're protected from discrimination every step of the way. It's really as simple as that. Tennessee likes to, the supermajority, I'll say, likes to pass laws to try to infringe on people's rights, to try and poke their fingers into people's lives. The state has no business who you love, what you look like, the pronouns that you use. No way. State must protect and our LGBTQ brothers and sisters. Absolutely.
We have a question back here.
Shondell, I have never seen you at any community meetings in District 60 whatsoever in the past year and a half, at least. So I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about how you're more locally involved in District 60, and also how you're going to help us deal with the homeless population explosion that's happening in District 60, because Darren Jernigan has been phenomenal about stopping that on state property, and I just want to know how you're going to help with that.
Wow. You said the past year and a half. The past year and a half, my son was shot in his head, right? And I had to take care of him. I couldn't leave him at home. I had to be at the house with him. I am also involved in the Old Hickory chambers. So I am a member of that also. I don't know what else you wanted me to say that you needed me to see. You need to see me do. Because I am a mom, and moms are very, very busy. You can't be everywhere. Any other questions?
Thank you. The suburbs of
Tyler, did you want to?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to my response about backgrounds. We both have different backgrounds. Shondell spends a lot of time advocating at the Capitol. I try and spend my time here in the local community. I don't think one's better or worse than the other. It's a differentiating factor for sure. I would never take away anything from the advocacy that she does, crucial, vitally important work that she does at the Capitol every day. I'm not at the Capitol as much. I work. I try and watch as many proceedings on the viewer that they put up online. Pretty much it's going all day during session for me. I try to watch the committee hearings to be updated and caught up on everything that's going on at the Capitol as much as I can. I'd love to be there more. Work, of course, prohibits that. I think most people aren't able to be there as much as we'd like. We'd all love to go and scream and shout at the Republicans up there. It's cathartic, feels good. I just simply can't make it up there as much. And I know Shondell's there at the Capitol, so she might not be in the community as much. It's two different approaches. I think they're equally valid.
okay, my question is the natural suburbs are, and that includes Hermitage or this district. If they're not red, they're pink. So there's a lot of conservative voters in this district. And they, like the supermajority, would say, well, look, parents have rights. We want to protect our children from some of this stuff we're talking about. So my question is, which one of you is going to be best to compete against the Republican in the fall? Darren Jernigan has been a great representative of this area. We'd hate to see this become another seat in the supermajority.
Well, I'm confident that we're both going to say that we're each best to take on the Republican this fall. Our Republican opponent is, I'll save my comments, but they're going to put everything that they can into this seat, and we have to do everything that we can as Democrats to hold this seat. I'm going to speak like a Democrat because we're the only guys up here that accepted the invitation to this forum, are the Democrats in this race. So I can tell you the Republicans are getting money from Americans for Prosperity. They're palling around down at Early Vote. That's the Koch brothers community, and they're going to be pushing school vouchers. So on education, I think that I own them on that. As the son of a public school teacher, I'm a product of the public schools of the state of Tennessee. I don't know how else to put it. His whole push is going to be to push the voucher scam. I can fight them on that every day as the son of a public school teacher, as a parent of two future MNPS students. I believe that the education fight is here, it's upon us. We know that based on who's going to be giving them money, because I've seen the lobbyists, the guy from the Koch brothers organization hanging around, pushing the Republican opponent, and they're going to be telling him what to do as they give him big checks. So I think my experience in education, my background as the son of a public school teacher is going to equip me best to take the fight to them on the voucher scam this fall.
I feel like I've put it all out there, and I feel like the people are going to decide who is going to go up against the Republican. And you asked, you said, who's going to go up against the Republican? Is that your question? Yep.
One of you will go up against the Republican, there's no doubt about it. You have, and I'm glad someone mentioned it, you have big shoes to fill in Darren Jernigan's position. He has done an excellent job of communicating with the public with a monthly newsletter. And I would like for Erin Evans to have a shout out here. She's in the back. She does it weekly, which keeps Hermitage and her district on top of things. All right, question. The school situation with guns in classrooms, I agree with. I don't want them in classrooms. Neither one of you mentioned a an officer on the premises, which we know may have helped in a couple of, not our situations necessarily, but on a national level. How do you feel about that? Armed, actual officer of the law, there's a term, SR something.
School resource officer.
School resource, SRO, thank you, sir, thank you, sir. The school resource officer in every single school. And in some larger schools, think McAdam, et cetera, maybe two. So what is your feeling about funding for that full-time position?
I'm not a fan of any guns in schools, but I understand that SROs can become a necessity in the times that we're living in. I don't have a problem per se with an SRO as long as they have vigorous training, as long as they're on-duty police officers that have the training, that have, they know what they're doing. I'm not in favor at all of sending in people who are not on-duty police officers, of having teachers with guns, of having even retired officers with guns in the school as SROs. I'd like to see full funding for SROs that are on-duty police officers. I think our kids deserve that. We can't send people in with guns that have no training or that have minimal training. It just doesn't work. It's too much of a risk to the kids. The cost, the risk outweighs any benefit if they're not trained. Gotta send trained, if you're gonna have an SRO, it needs to be a trained police officer. I wish that we were in a spot in society where we didn't have to have them at all.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. Also, I'm not a fan of guns in schools either. I don't know. I think having SRO in schools can maybe deter, I don't know, the shooter or people, maybe not. We've seen where it works in some situations, So I don't know if necessarily that would be the answer to, like I said, I'm not a fan of guns at all, so
Hey guys, sorry y'all. Got a comment and a question. My comment was that I've had an opportunity to speak with both of them and Chad Bobo at the same time. Asked both of them, all three of them, like 50 questions, rapid fire. And if you elect either one of them, which I know who my candidate is, I'm not trying to influence anyone. But going up against Chad Bobo, he's not going. He's completely clueless. Okay, I asked 50 questions, he can answer one, and they both can tell you that. My comment is, both of you all mentioned something about potholes. I think potholes fall up under the infrastructure bill that partners with the city on getting those potholes done. Would that be a priority for infrastructure, or would that be a priority with working with the city on getting that done, and how would you guys attack that, would be my first question.
I will vote for or support any kind of funding for the city to take care of that kind of stuff. So I don't know if it's so much a state level issue, but I will definitely support the fundings for that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's both. It's both infrastructure and it's working with the city, because our streets out here, like Lebanon Road is both a metro street and a state road.
Absolutely.
Maybe even a US road, 70. It's all of the above. So we have to, TDOT has to partner with NDOT to be able to make this stuff happen. They have to work together hand in hand and make sure. I know there's differences in which responsibilities that each organization takes on at the state versus the metro level, but you have to be able to work together. I can work with my colleagues here on the Metro Council, my friends in the Metro Council, I should say, and make sure that they're getting what needs done through NDOT, and I can take it to the state, make sure that TDOT's doing what it needs to do. But they're definitely two organizations that are both responsible sometimes for the similar things. So it's got to be a partnership, but yeah, we have to maintain what we have, folks.
What are both parties going to be doing about the minority group that is affected by gun violence in the Hermitage area and Donelson area and Albuquerque, and also in public schools?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, particularly on the school part, the voucher plan is gonna hurt our Black and brown communities first. It always does. When we start defunding our public schools, our Black and brown communities are gonna bear the brunt of that, and that's not acceptable. It's not acceptable for any kid to bear the brunt of a defunding of our public school system, but it absolutely hurts the Black and brown communities first, and we can't let that happen, which is another reason that I'm gonna fight tooth and nail to make sure that the voucher plan isn't passed. For gun violence, yeah, the solutions to gun violence, I think, save all lives. It's gonna save Black and brown lives. It's gonna save everyone else's lives too. If we can implement universal background checks, if we can implement safe storage requirements, and if we can implement red flag laws. Bullets don't care what color your skin is. They don't care your economic status. They don't care anything about your demographics. So we need to save lives up front with safe storage laws, red flag laws, and universal background checks.
Was your question what we're gonna do about the black violence in the
what are you guys gonna do about the minority groups? Yeah, the minority groups affected by gun violence. Yeah.
Right. I feel, and someone asked me that question before. I feel like we need community intervention. I think we need to prevent violence in our communities or Black and brown communities. I feel like we need intervention. Sorry. I feel like we need community intervention when it comes to violence in Black and brown communities. And it goes right back to all the laws that we need to pass. Like he was saying, the background checks and safe storage, and so guns won't get into the wrong hands. Thanks.
We have 2 questions left, and then we'll, the final question. I've got 2 questions left.
Thanks so much. First, I really appreciate both of your passion for education. That's really important to me and my family. My question would be, we have seen the state repeatedly overrule our local school board in awarding charters. Even here in Donelson, we've seen that happen. How can we make sure that our local elected officials are able to make the final decisions about how our district money is spent?
Yeah, well, the preemption from the state has got to stop. That's an issue that affects more than just school choice and school matters, education. The state of Tennessee preempts Metro Nashville anytime that we do something that they don't like. We can't do that. I'm going to fight against that and be a voice for the city of Nashville as well as the district when I'm working with the folks on the other side of the aisle at the state of Tennessee. I think, it's a preemption problem as well as an educational problem. Public schools, I think, have to be prioritized. We have to put our money where our mouth is, where our students are, where our children are in our public schools, and make sure that they're well funded. But we've got to stop the state from preempting us every step of the way, whether it's on schools or whether it's on the size of our metro council or whether it's on the community oversight board or the airport or you name it. It's a constant power grab from the state of Tennessee, and I'm a Nashvilleian and a Tennessean. I want to see Nashville thrive. I want to see Tennessee thrive. We can do that at the same time without fighting each other all the time.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
We've repeatedly seen the state approve charters that were initially rejected by our local school board, and they've gone over the heads of our local school board. How can we make sure that our local elected officials have the ability to have the final say on our school district's budget?
I totally agree with Tyler on the voucher. I feel like we need to vote against that. I know it's coming back up in next session, and once elected, I definitely going to be voting against that. So to make sure that the money and the fundings for public schools go to public schools.
I think one of my questions is around the call out on the challenges that you're gonna face day one from the other officials, right? So what's gonna be your approach on getting support, getting, I don't even know if it's realistic to think that you could go across the aisle, right, anymore. Maybe. My thought is though, how do you get support behind you? And what's gonna be your approach to get that support?
I know, and I'm gonna ask this all the time. I feel like communication is the key. And then also, no one has my story, right? No one has my story. No one has experienced in that house. No one has experienced what I've experienced. So I think bringing my experience and, like I said earlier, being in the same room. I'm not going to be on the outside. Now I'm going to be on the inside, and you're going to have to see me. I feel like we need to communicate. Once we communicate and be halfway and talk about what needs to be done for the people, not our own agendas.
Yeah, I think it's vital to work across the aisle. We have to. We're in the supermajority. We can't get anything done. That's just the bleak reality of it. We can't do anything without help from Republican votes. Does that mean we have to leave our values at the door? Absolutely not. But we must work with them. We have to, and I think that's important. We've got to go and start building those relationships, trying to build a bridge, trying to get a foot in the door to be able to have these conversations with them, to find common ground with them. I think the constituents that they're sending these Republicans up to the State House agree with us a lot more than you realize. I come from a rural area that's probably an 85-15 district, and the people up there, they support safe storage laws, they support universal background checks, they support expanded exceptions for the life of the mother from our abortion ban. So educating these folks on what their constituents actually want, I mean, polling reflects this, right? Like, most Tennesseans want common sense gun solutions. They want exceptions to the abortion ban. We gotta be able to educate them on that. I mean, they know it too. We gotta help them find their courage, I think is maybe a better way to put it. Help them find their courage to do the right thing day in and day out. They're faced with choices. They're faced with pressure from their own primaries, from their own party, from lobbyists that could fund infinite amounts of money to their opponents. And so they feel the pressure, but some of them are out there and able to do the right thing and find their courage. That's how we stopped the voucher plan this year. It's because of Republicans that opposed it. We can stop it in the spring with Republicans that oppose it. We have to have their help. I'm not going to beg anybody for anything, but we need to work across the aisle without leaving our values at the door, like I said.
All right, I've been told that we have 10 more minutes, so does anybody else have any more questions?
All right, I'll throw in a bonus question. I don't need a microphone. So everyone in this room knows that District 60 is a crucial seat that we need to retain. Regardless of the outcome of whomever is the winner of this primary, will you guys be willing to knock doors and go out and help each other to win this race? Because we do know how vital it is, not only to everyone in this room, but to everyone that you guys will be networking with.
At the same time, yes. We absolutely will.
Of course.
All right, I'm gonna hold y'all to it because I got both of y'all numbers.
All right, I'm gonna, anybody, okay. Yeah?
Yeah, I'll ask one more. One of the things Darren was great at was constituent service. He was accessible, you could reach him. He was always personal. He would work on your concerns. So my question for you is, what do you like best about District 60 during this campaign, the people you met? And will you be just as accessible, and will you commit today to say, look, I value each and every one of you. I'm not up here on this issue or that issue. I'm up here to represent you, to help you. Because I think that's really, really important.
Thank you for that question. I am up here to represent each and every one of you. Yeah, you're right. I'm not up here it's not about, I'm here to represent the people. I'm not here for fame. I'm not here for a paycheck. I'm not here for any of that. And I know what it's like to be ignored. And I want to make sure that my constituents are heard. I want to be able to stand up and represent them in the best way possible. So I am going to listen to everything that they're saying and what their needs are, like I'm listening at the doors.
So I think your first question was, what do we like best about the district? It's the people. The people of this district are wonderful. We have a tight-knit community here, guys. And this district is unique in its cohesiveness in terms of just pure geography. Most districts are gerrymandered to hell, and you can't tell any single community out of it. We have Old Hickory, we have Donelson, we have Hermitage, and we're all coming together here. Donelson-Hermitage Neighborhood Alliance, the Donelson-Hermitage Chamber of Commerce, the Old Hickory Village Neighborhood Association, right? We have 3 distinct communities. Each one of them has their own flavors, their own ups and downs, the things that make them unique. And you know, we talk a lot about unicorns here in Nashville, people who are native to Nashville. This district, I think, has more unicorns than any other part of the city, with people that are born here, that grew up here, and that still live here, that have retired here after living an entire life in the Donelson-Hermitage, Old Hickory area. And I love that about our part of town. We're unique. We are, we're all together in this. And that's what's great about District 60. It's not some gerrymander. It's 3 distinct communities that are all united in common goals, common features. And yeah, as far as constituents, absolutely have to listen to our constituents by returning their calls, returning their messages, having town halls. Newsletters, of course, are important. And yeah, so absolutely have to have that dialogue.
Now for our closing remarks, each of you have about 3 minutes. Who wants to start?
Well, I just want to thank everybody again for coming out, spending a rainy Wednesday evening with us. I hope you found this informative. I hope that you feel like you know the both of us a little bit better. We're people. We're each people. We're up here running. Every politician that you know, that you've ever met, is a person. They have a family. They have hopes and desires. Some of them are crazy. I try not to be crazy, but you know, just thank you all so much for coming out. I hope that I've impressed upon you my care for the public education system. I hope that you know that I will fight to end gun violence, to stop the firearm deaths, particularly of children in the state of Tennessee. And I hope that you know that I'll advocate for women and their rights to choose for themselves the health care that is right for them every step of the way. I hope that you've heard that we'll advocate for the LGBTQ community, make sure that they're heard, make sure that they're protected every day, and I'll always try and do the right thing for the people of District 60. This is my home. I'm invested here. It's my children's home, and I want to make this a better place. I want to see it thrive. I want the state of Tennessee to thrive. I grew up here. Tennessee at large is my home, and so I really want to make my Tennessee home a better place. And if you can send me through the primary, fight the Republicans, I'll get it done for you and make sure that every day I fight for your values and I fight for a better life for all.
No, for me, it's not just saying it, it's doing it. It's standing up and representing the people. I feel like I've been doing it for 6 years. I've been out here, I've been doing the work, I've been putting in the work, and I'm not just saying it, I'm not running for office for a paycheck, I'm not running to be famous. I am running to do the work for the people, to be the voice for the people, and to represent the people. So when you see the blue hair, brown skin girl in the middle of a group of white men, know that I'm there to represent you. I'm there to fight for you and stand up for you. Thank you.
Let's take a moment to thank our candidates. Thank you both so much for being here. You're both class acts, and I think it's a testament to their commitment to this community that they're here tonight with you to answer your questions. Again, early voting ends Saturday with Election Day on August 1, so if you haven't voted yet, please get out there and do so. And there are a couple elected officials in the room, and I'm going to bring Dr. Donelson-Hermitage up here. She has an announcement for the audience, and she's going to introduce the rest of our elected officials as well.
Thank you so much. Again, thank you all for coming out. I've gotten to know you both, Tyler and Shondell, on the campaign trail. I really appreciate both of your stories. And now Tyler's also my neighbor, so I see him a lot more often. Actually, I see his wife a lot more often, so it's cool. But I just wanted to thank you all. I do have a quick announcement for back to school. We're in back to school season now. Teachers are coming back. Administrators are already back in our schools, preparing to welcome students back across our district. We have a back to school bash that we will be hosting. It's a community-wide that supports our elementary, middle, and our high school, which will be on August the 3rd from 10 to 2 at McGavock High School. We are still accepting community sponsors who are wanting to sponsor nonprofits who want to set up tables or anything like that. We're accepting backpacks, school supplies, and all of those things as well. So if you are interested in participating and volunteering and getting involved, please let us know. We'll be happy to have you join us. If you're not able to participate in the back to school event, I always invite you, if you have never been into Metro Nashville Public Schools, don't believe what you hear in the media, come visit our schools, walk in the doors, volunteer. We always need reading volunteers, math volunteers, people to help out. It takes a community to ensure that our kids are successful, and we want that community and that village to be involved. We don't want you on the outside, we want you on the inside helping us out. So please, any way that you can, please get involved with our schools, with our school district, and get to know us, and get to know the great things that we are doing. We do have some academic data that was just released by the state, some preliminary data, and I am excited to announce that we are the 3rd year in a row that we have outperformed our previous year, 3rd year. So we have done a clear feat in advancing academic achievement and growth for every student across our district. And when I say every student, every demographic, every grade level has increased in academic achievement and growth across our district. This has never happened in the lifetime of Metro Nashville Public Schools, so for us to not only do it once, do it a second time, we're on a three-peat. That means we have a model that is working. And we need as much support behind our public schools to continue to make that happen for our kids. So please get involved, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to connect you in ways that you can get involved. So thank you so much. In the meantime, I would like to walk around and hand the mic to some of our elected officials in the room, starting with Councilmember Aaron Evans, who represents District 12, which is over in the Hermitage community.
Thank you, Dr. Donelson-Hermitage, and I do put out a weekly newsletter, so I appreciate that shout out. Every Sunday night I write it, and I've done about close to 300 of them since I was elected in 2019. So anyway, if you want to sign up and get news about District 12, aaronfor12.com is where you can sign up. And I share all the minutia about the Python. That's going to be in the next issue. So there's all kinds of stuff that I share that's really interesting or really boring, depending on your perspective. So thank you for having us, and for both of you for being here. It's really hard to run for office, and it's really hard to do it over the summer. So I really appreciate the commitment from both of you for doing it and being here tonight and taking people's questions, because obviously not everybody is here, and so I appreciate y'all doing that.
Thank you, Councilmember Evans. And next we have Councilmember Jordan Huffman, who represents District 14, which is my district, also in the Hermitage/Old Hickory community, correct? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Donelson-Hermitage. Thank you all for attending. Thank you to the DHNA for hosting this again. I'm the former president of this wonderful organization. We have another former president with us too, Tim Weeks. So it's good to see everybody out. We have a commitment with this organization to make sure that information gets out in front of people. It's so important for everybody to be able to make informed decisions. So really appreciate everybody out. Shameless plug for my newsletter as well. HuffmanForMetro.com. You can go there, click on Get Involved, and sign up. I don't spam you that much. I don't have big snakes in my district. We keep those across the street. Yeah. But I try to keep you up to date on a semi-regular basis. So please go there and sign up. Thanks.
Thank you so much. We also have another candidate in the room. Mr. Matt Anderson is running for some type of committee, something, but he can introduce himself while we're in the room.
That is so kind of you. I did not prepare anything, but my name's Matt Anderson, and I'm running for State Democratic Executive Committee, which is basically like the board of directors for the TMDP. So I've been in politics since 2012. I was the press secretary for the Senate Democratic Caucus. I've been a campaign consultant, worked with this fine woman here on her races, and a few others. So I feel like I know how to win and have a lot to offer to the state party. So if Heidi Campbell's in your senator, I'm in the same district and would appreciate your vote. Matt Anderson, thank you.
Did I miss anyone else? Nope. I think we got everyone. Yes. Thank you all so much again for coming out. Again, thank you. Please give a bigger round of applause to our candidates. It takes a lot of bravery to step out and run for office. It takes a lot of work and a lot of people pushing back and questioning you. And I will say, based on experience, my road to becoming on school board was a long journey. If anyone knows my story, we had a lot of pushing and getting to know people and getting out in the community. So I applaud you all for stepping out and making this effort in 100-degree weather to make this work for our community and even being willing to serve our community. So thank you so much, both of you.
That concludes our program. Thank you so much.
So,
Thank you.